Hello everybody, my name is Morgan Gard and this is your Pack Preview. You could call this a mashup as we talk about Anderson, Purdue, Cal, and Governor State University with Coach Niekamp. So, hello Coach, how are you?
I'm good, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. Before we talk about those three universities, let's take a recap on how IU South Bend and Alice Lloyd went.
Okay, yeah, we finally had our first home match, which we were so grateful for. We were really excited to be at home. We started out the day with Alice Lloyd and we got a pretty quick win with them. You know, we just went out and took advantage of their weaknesses and got the match over with pretty quickly. And then South Bend kind of gave us some trouble. We started out really well. We won the first two sets and then dropped the third and fourth. And we kind of just lost momentum. And when we went into that fifth set, we knew that we needed to get the first 5 points to win that game, and we let it slip away there at the end. So, not the best outcome on our first day out, but we were definitely excited to be at home.
That answered my second question. I was going to ask how you felt at home, but you answered that for me. But, like you said, South Bend went to 5 sets. You guys have seen a lot of 5-set matches. Is there a different mindset when entering that fifth set?
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a quick game, and we try to break it down into 5-point games. So we always talk about the first 5 points. We really want to get those first 5 points and get the momentum, and then we break it down, and we break it down to getting to the first 8, where we switch sides, and then go from there. I think we were so close, and we kind of felt the pressure there at the end, and we kind of just let it go.
Okay, well, I'm sure the next 5 sets hopefully won't happen with Anderson, but Anderson is next up on the agenda. You're their first home match of the season, so could this be a challenge for you guys?
We were so excited to play at our home court, so we understand what they're feeling. So going there, I think we're going to understand that the energy is going to be high. But I think we're going to bring our own energy. They've kind of started out their season a little bit slow. I think they're 4-9 right now. So they're looking for a home win. They're looking for a good win, and we're going to bring it.
And let's step into the future a little bit. Governor State is the 26th of September, and you're playing them as a tri-match with Purdue Cal. This is their first varsity season ever, first time in the NAIA as well. What are your expectations of them?
I think we're going to hope to take advantage of their youth. We're young this year, but we have a lot of returners and some transfers, so I think we're going to take advantage of that when we play them.
And Purdue Cal is next that day. I saw them last year. What's your game plan for this year?
They're going to bring it after we beat them last year on our home court, so I expect it to be the same. Whenever we go there, they're going to probably bring their best effort, so we need to bring ours too.
Well, good luck on all 3 games this week.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm Morgan Gard, and let's take this to our live commentators at Anderson University.
Hello once again, and welcome to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolf Sports Network. I'm Caleb Gillock here at the O.C. Lewis Gymnasium in Anderson, Indiana. The IU East Red Wolves come into the matchup with a record of 8-9, and the Anderson University Ravens have a 4-9 record. Both of these teams can easily relate to one thing, and that's that they started their season off with 3 tournaments on the road. Anderson has been away the past 3 weekends. IU East did the same thing, going to Grace College along with Lindsey Wilson and Point Park. And this is the first home match for Anderson of the season after playing 12 matches. And IU East finally was able to play their first home match this past weekend on Saturday against Alice Lloyd and IU South Bend after playing 15 straight on the road. And it was such a great feeling to be back at Seton Catholic High School for a home matchup for the Red Wolves, but returning onto the road once again tonight here in Anderson. IU East, as I mentioned, comes into the matchup with a record of 8 wins and 9 losses, now 2-1 in the KIAC after picking up a win over Alice Lloyd on Saturday. That was the home opener. IU East swept that in 3, 25-11, 25-11, and 25-7. Then later that afternoon, giving them their 9th loss of the season, IU East fell to IU South Bend in 5. Scores of 25-22, 25-21, 19-25, 24-26, and 13-15. And as you heard Derek Blank and I call that game, definitely a nail-biter against the Titans of South Bend. Just 2 very well evenly matched up teams going into that matchup. And obviously one team had to come out with the win, and that was the Titans. But a great matchup between IU South Bend and IU East, 2 regional campuses in a matchup on Saturday. So let's take a look at the Anderson University Ravens. They come into the matchup, as I mentioned, with a record of 4-9, It's their home opener, which spent the past 3 weekends on the road at various tournaments. Annie Bachman, she's a 5'9 sophomore all-around player. She leads the Ravens with 3.47 kills per set. Bachman led Anderson with 11 kills in the Ravens match at IU East last season. So let's talk about that matchup last season. IU East was able to win in 4 with scores of 25-19, 23-25, 25-20, and 25-20. Mallory Livingston led the way in hitting percentage for the Red Wolves with .464 in that matchup. She also had 18 kills in the match. Bailey Gates had 6 blocks, and Madison Yoder, she had 16 digs along with 3 aces in the matchup last year. IU East was 9-9 after that matchup, and Anderson was 6-11 at the end of that matchup. But tonight, coming into the matchup, IU East 8-9, Anderson University 4-9. So let's take a look at the Kentucky Intercollegiate Athletic Conference after this past weekend. We'll take a look at the volleyball standings. Right now in first is Asbury with a 3-0 conference record, 11-8 on the season. IU Kokomo in second with 2-0, 15-2. Point Park in third with 4-1. Rio Grande in fourth with 2-1. 8-3 on the season. Cincinnati Christian 2-1, 5-3 on the season. IU East sixth right now with 2-1, 8-9 on the season, followed by Brescia 3-3. IU Southeast 1-1. Ohio Christian 1-2. Midway 1-5. Carlo 0-1. West Virginia Tech 0-1, 1-8 on the season. And Alice Lloyd rounds out the conference 0-5 on the season in conference play, 1-9 overall this season. So there you go. That's the pre-match show for tonight's matchup here at the O.C. Lewis Gymnasium between the Anderson University Ravens and your IU East Red Wolves. We'll take a quick break for the national anthem and starting lineups and be right back with more IU East volleyball right here on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Hello, I'm Caleb Gillock, the host of Inside IU East Sports, a show where we talk with coaches, players, and other guests about what's happening with IU East athletics.
In the top 100 high school seniors.
Last year we were fortunate enough to do a variety of things on the track and then off to be able to be considered.
Make sure to join us on Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. on WETV Channel 20.
I'm Dr. Ganesh Ramachandran, the region's only hand specialist at Reed Orthopedic Center. Patients love how easy it is having everything under one roof and how easy it is to get here. Right here at Reed Orthopedic Center, right here in Richmond.
My husband Larry came to Reed because he was in respiratory distress, and he came in through the emergency room and almost dying. The ethic of camaraderie and teamwork and customer service was extraordinary. After a few weeks of care with the fantastic staff in the medical, the CCU, the rehab departments, everywhere, he came home to me in one piece and ready to start the next stage of his life. We absolutely believe that Reed Hospital and the people here saved his life.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
Dylan Newman had a terrible dislocated shoulder after a bad dirt bike accident. The long-term solution, surgery and intense rehab.
I trusted Reed Orthopedics because they had already fixed my ankle. And within 4 months of my surgery, Dr. Miller and my Reed therapist, April, helped me to regain my motion and most of my strength. Thanks to Reed Ortho, I can get back to what I love. It's all about trust. Right, Dr. Miller?
Right here at Reed.
Right here in Richmond.
And welcome back to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. I'm Caleb Gillock, the voice of your IU East Red Wolves. Thanks for joining us here in Anderson, Indiana for tonight's matchup featuring the Anderson University Ravens and your IU East Red Wolves. The IU East lineup has been announced. We'll go through the starters for IU East here in just a moment. However, let's listen into the Anderson University PA announcer for their starting lineup here in the O.C. Lewis Gymnasium. All right, there you have the Anderson University starting lineup. Let's go over the lineup for your Red Wolves once they got on the floor. However, let's take a look at some of the IU East storylines before we do that. It's the start of a 3-match road swing for IU East. They played 15 of 17 matches away from home this year, including one just across town over at Earlham College. So if you look at that, it's still a road match, but still close enough to home to where it feels a little bit like home. Started to have that feel toward the end of the conference tournament for men's basketball last year, as men's basketball team played over there at Earlham College several times last year throughout the KIAC tournament. So taking a look at the lineup for your Red Wolves, out on the floor, Hannah Best along with Missy Bedell, Bella Pavey, Morgan Steinbrenner, Mallory Livingston, Abby Ketchum, and Sydney Durham all out on the floor to start for the Red Wolves. Madison Yoder here over on the sideline getting ready to come in, and she has just been given permission to come into the matchup. She's going to replace number 21, Morgan Steinbrenner. IU East 2-4 this season in true road matches, and they have won their last 9 matches against NCAA Division III opponents dating back to the 2009 season. So quite impressive there, taking on some of the higher-ranked NCAA programs. Well, like I said, last 9 matches have all belonged to IU East since the 2009 season. IU East is 4-0 when they hit 200 or better. And we'll see how they hit in this matchup against the Ravens. Looks like we're about ready to go. It's going to be Anderson's serve to begin the first set. So it looks like we are ready to go here inside the O.C. Lewis Gymnasium. Once again, thanks for joining us here on the Red Wolves Sports Network on your Wednesday evening. And back to serve for Anderson to start things off is going to be number 1, Allie Wolf. She's a 5'9" setter from Mishawaka, Indiana, went to Penn High School. There's the attack by Mallory Livingston. The set and the attack from the Anderson libero picked up by Bella Pavey with the dig. And the attack by Sydney Durham with the kill. And that's going to put the Red Wolves up 1-0 to start off the first set here in Anderson. So a great start for IU East. 1-0. That's going to put Durham back to serve now. And here is the serve from the 6'1" sophomore out of Noblesville. Goes over to the right side. There's the dig and the attack by Abby Finnick. Set by Abby Ketchum. Hannah Best hits a back cross over to the right side to number 2. That's Riley Troyer. And that's going to be another point to the Red Wolves after it goes into the net. And Anderson unable to get it over. So it is now 2-0 here in the first set in favor of the Red Wolves. Back on the road. Going to Purdue Calumet this weekend up in Hammond, Indiana near Chicago. There's the set by Troyer. It's going to be inbounds, it looks like. Waiting on the official call. They're going to rule it out of bounds, so it'll be a 3-0 start now for the Red Wolves after it is called out of play. Sydney Durham still back to serve for the Red Wolves. There's the set by Troyer. It's going to go over. That'll be a kill for the Ravens. And that puts their first point of the matchup on the board. They now trail by 2, 3-1 in the first set. Back to serve for Anderson. Looks like this is going to be number 11. That is Cayenne Stewart. She's a 5'8" junior on the Anderson roster. Plays middle hitter. There's the set by Troyer. Finnick tips it over for the Ravens. Dig by Yoder. The attack by Livingston is going to be inbounds. Just out of bounds. It looks like it's going to be the official call. So it's now 3-2. A 1-point advantage for Anderson, or IUE still, as Anderson back to serve. Here's the serve. It's going to go over to the back row to handle best with the dig. There's the set by Abby Ketchum. The attack by Morgan Steinberger, kept alive by the Ravens. Going to be tipped over, picked up by Abby Ketchum. Yoder with the dig. And here's Mallory Livingston. Up to the front row, set by Troyer. Attack that time by number 8. That is Annie Bachman. Talked about her in the pregame show. Here's the attack over to Pavey, and it's going to be out of bounds off of Abby Ketchum. That ties it up at 3. So 3-all here in the first set. First 3 points in the matchup scored by the Red Wolves, and the next 3 scored by the Ravens. Stewart still back to serve. Went to Callan High School over around Muncie, Indiana. Her serve is going to be just long. It'll be a service error on the Ravens, giving the Red Wolves a 1-point advantage, 4-3. So that'll put Abby Ketchum, wearing number 16, back to serve. Ketchum from Perry Meridian High School in Indianapolis. There's the set by Troyer. It's going to go over into the Red Wolves side of the floor for a kill, and that ties it up at 4. So 4-4 in the first set. Back to serve now for the Ravens. Looks like it's going to be number 3, Carissa Winsel. She's a 5'1" defensive specialist from Bargersville, Indiana. Went to Franklin Community High School. Set by Ketchum. There is Missy Bedell with the attack, and it's going to go down as a kill as the Anderson player unable to keep the ball alive with a dig. So it should be 5-4 in favor of IU East. It's Mallory Livingston, the only senior on the IU East roster, back to serve. Here's the serve from Mallory Livingston. It's going to go over to the back row. There's the dig, sent by Troyer. The attack up front this time by number 10. That's Bailey Smith. And that'll tie it up 5-5 off of the kill by Smith. So a fast-paced matchup so far here between the Ravens and the Red Wolves. Back to serve is Annie Bachman, a 5'9" sophomore from Middlebury, Indiana. Went to Northridge High School. There's the attack, kept alive. Yoder with the dig for the Red Wolves, set by Abby Ketchum. Here's Missy Bedell, gets it across the net, tips it back. That is going to be Riley Troyer who hits it out of bounds. And the Red Wolves back on top by 1, 6-5. So an exciting matchup here so far between IU East and Anderson. Here's the serve for Madison Yoder, sophomore from Ben Davis High School in Indianapolis. And that'll be into the net. Another point to the Red Wolves. Now 7-5, a 2-point lead. Yoder still back to serve. Here's the serve from Yoder. It's going to go over to the back row with the dig. The Anderson libero, number 13, Megan Wade, gets it back across that time. Bedell hits it across, kept alive by the Ravens. There's the attack. Yoder with the dig for the Red Wolves as she goes diving across the floor. Bailey Gates with the attack and the kill for the Red Wolves, putting them up by 3, 8-5. A 3-point lead for IU East, the largest lead for either team in the matchup so far. And Madison Yoder will continue to serve for IU East. Here is her serve. It's going to be a short serve this time, picked up by Wade. And nice block up front by Gates. Kept alive by Missy Bedell, set by Ketchum. Here's Durham, and that'll be a kill. We're going to see what the official call is going to be out on the floor. It'll still be a point to the Red Wolves. Now 9-5, a 4-point lead for IU East. So we're waiting on the serve from Madison Yoder. And it's going to be a service error on Yoder. Now 9-6, it's still a 3-point lead for IU East. Megan Wade, a 5'2" defensive specialist. Actually the libero in today's matchup for Anderson out of Evansville. Went to Evansville North. There's the dig by Wade. Over to the back row by Mallory Livingston with the set. And a little miscommunication up on the front row. It looked like between Bedell and Ketchum. And no one was able to get the attack that time for IU East. 9-7. Wade still back to serve. Here's her serve over to the back row to Mallory Livingston with the dig. There's Sydney Durham with the attack that time for IU East. Almost out of bounds on the Ravens, but they were able to keep the ball in play. Set by Troyer. And Ketchum with the dig. Set by Yoder. Bedell with the attack that time for the Red Wolves. It'll still go down in the books as an IU East point. And it is now 10-7. So back up to a 3-point lead. Bella Pavey from Union County High School in Liberty, Indiana. She comes back into the game for IU East. She's going to be over on the right side. Here's her serve. Goes back. There's the set. And the attack this time by Anderson. Picked up by Yoder with the dig. Gates with one as well. Livingston tips it across for IU East. Wade tries to keep it alive. So does Troyer, but it's going to go out of bounds. One last try by number 3, Carissa Winsel. And she goes sliding out of bounds. Makes it 11-7. IU East with a 4-point lead here in the first set. Anderson's going to take a timeout. We'll take one as well and come back with more IU East volleyball right here on the Red Wolves Sports Network.
Dylan Newman had a terrible dislocated shoulder after a bad dirt bike accident. The long-term solution, surgery and intense rehab.
I trusted Reed Orthopedics because they had already fixed my ankle. And within 4 months of my surgery, Dr. Miller and my Reed therapist, April, helped me to regain my motion and most of my strength. Thanks to Reed Ortho, I can get back to what I love. It's all about trust. Right, Dr. Miller?
Right here at Reed.
Right here in Richmond.
My husband Larry came to Reed because he was in respiratory distress, and he came in through the emergency room and almost dying. The ethic of camaraderie and teamwork and customer service was extraordinary. After a few weeks of care with the fantastic staff in the medical, the CCU, the rehab departments, everywhere, he came home to me in one piece and ready to start the next stage of his life. We absolutely believe that Reed Hospital and the people here saved his life.
And welcome back to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. I'm Caleb Hillock, the voice of the IU East Red Wolves. Thanks for joining us once again here on your Wednesday evening. 11-7 right now in favor of IU East in the first set. Serve from Paley back in play. Goes over to the back row. Pavey with the dig this time, keeping it alive for the Red Wolves. Here's Gates with the kill for the Red Wolves. 12-7. So a 5-point lead for the Red Wolves on a little bit of a run here in the first set. And here is Pavey continuing to serve for IU East. Smiles as she serves this time over to the right side to Wade. And the attack this time by number 17, it's Courtney Kopp. Here's Livingston with the attack for the Red Wolves in return, sent by Troyer. And the tip across this time, kept alive by the Red Wolves and returned to the other side. It's going to be blocked up front by Abby Ketchum, and it's going to be out of bounds, a point to Anderson University, making it 12-8. So a 4-point lead still for the Red Wolves. Back to serve for Anderson. Looks like it's going to be number 2. That is Riley Troyer. Her serve over to Yoder with the dig, set by Abby Ketchum. Here's Gates with the attack, and it's going to be off the hands of Troyer. A point to the Red Wolves, now 13-8. So back up to a 5-point game, the largest lead of the game so far for IU East. Here's the serve from Gates. Goes over to Yoder with the dig, sent by Abby Ketchum. Durham with the attack. Anderson trying to get it across. Over to Yoder with the dig, set by Abby Ketchum. Here's Livingston with the attack, and it's going to be out of bounds. It'll be a point to the Red Wolves. Now 14-8. A 6-point lead for IU East as Bailey Gates, sophomore from Winchester Community High School, back to serve. Gates, one of the 2 returning sophomores for IU East this year. Here's the attack by Finnig. Here's the set by Yoder. And that'll be another point to the Red Wolves off of the kill. 15-8. A 7-point lead for IU East. And Gates should be back to serve. Looks like there's some question over by the Anderson University bench, waiting to get that figured out with the official. And just waiting on what exactly is going on. I couldn't tell from over here at the scorers table what there could be a question on, as I did not see exactly where the ball is hit. You have the officials and everything over here on this side of the scorers table, so it was just a bad angle for myself, so trying to figure out what's going on. Looks like everything's going to resume as normal, 15-8. Here's the serve from Bailey Gates. It's going to be a short serve. There's the set by Troyer. Dig by Pavey. The attack by Mallory Livingston goes over, returned by the Ravens. Here's the set by Ketchum. Here's Cindy Durham with the kill, and it's 16-8. An 8-point game here in the first set. IU East on a run. Anderson trying to find an answer to end the IU East run, but unable to do so thus far. Here's the serve from Gates. Going to go over to the back row. There's the set by number 8. That is Annie Bachman. And that'll be a point for Anderson after it is tipped out of bounds, making it 16-9. Down to a 7-point game. Coming into the game for Anderson is going to be number 7, Emily Wilson. She's one of the starters, and waiting on Gates and Best to sub out. Best is going to come into the game for IU East as Best comes out. And now we have all the proper substitutions in. Emily Wilson comes into the game for number 17. That is Courtney Kopp, a 5'10 outside hitter from Vincennes. Here's the serve, goes over to the back row to Mallory Livingston. There's the set by Ketchum. Returned with the dig by Anderson, set by Ketchum. Here's the attack by Durham. Very able to keep it alive, but it goes underneath the net after it hits one of the other Anderson players. And that'll be a point to IU East. Back up 17-9, an 8-point lead. And it's going to be a timeout taken by Anderson as they trail by 8. We'll take a quick break as well and come back with more of IU East volleyball here in the first set on the Red Wolf Sports Network.
My husband Larry came to Reed because he was in respiratory distress, and he came in through the emergency room and almost dying. The ethic of camaraderie and teamwork and customer service was extraordinary. After a few weeks of care with the fantastic staff in the medical, the CCU, the rehab departments, everywhere, he came home to me in one piece and ready to start the next stage of his life. We absolutely believe that Reed Hospital and the people here saved his life.
Dylan Newman had a terrible dislocated shoulder after a bad dirt bike accident. The long-term solution, surgery and intense rehab.
I trusted Reed Orthopedics because they had already fixed my ankle. And within 4 months of my surgery, Dr. Miller and my Reed therapist, April, helped me to regain my motion and most of my strength. Thanks to Reed Ortho, I can get back to what I love. It's all about trust. Right, Dr. Miller?
Right here at Reed.
Right here in Richmond.
And welcome back to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolf Sports Network. Thanks for joining us here in Anderson, Indiana. IU East leads 17-9, and there's an ace for Sydney Durham, which makes it 18-9. So now the largest lead of the matchup for the Red Wolves as they lead by 9. Here's the serve. Goes over, and it's going to be another point to IU East off of a double hit. Makes it 19-9, up by 10. Here's the serve. It's going to go over into the back row. There's the tip, and it's going to be a point to Anderson off of their own tip, making it 19-10. So IU East leads by 9. Back to serve right now is going to be number 11. That is Cayenne Stewart. A 5'8 middle hitter for Anderson. Over to Hannah Best with the dig, set by Ketchum. There's Steinbrenner with the attack, but it's going to be out of bounds. It'll be a point to Anderson, 19-11. Here's the serve. It's going to be just over the net. Got caught up there on the top of the net and just barely fell over. So it's 19-12. A 7-point lead. Here's the serve. Goes over to the back row to Best. There's the set. And that'll be a point to the Red Wolves. Now 20-12. So an 8-point lead for IU East. Missy Bedell back into the game. Ketchum back to serve. And here we go. This is going to be back over by number 10. That is Bailey Smith. Livingston. It's hard enough just to get it to go over the net. Up on the front row between Fennig and Smith. And that's going to fall for another IU East point, 21-12. Still in play, actually. It looked like it. And now it is come to a close now, 21-12. So Ketchum back to serve still for IU East. It is 21-12. So a 9-point lead for IU East. There's the dig and the set by Riley Troyer. This is going to be out of bounds for another IU East point. 22-12, a 10-point game here in the first set. IU East looking to take the 1-0 lead in the match. Short serve from Ketchum. Goes over. Here's Finnig with the attack for the Ravens. Set by Abby Ketchum. Here's Missy Bedell with the attack. Kept alive by Troyer. There's the set and the attack. Get that time by Bachman. It'll be a point to Anderson after IU East can't get it back over. 22-13. Last year, IU East won the first set 25-19. It's over to Yoder this time. Bedell tips it across. It's going to be out of bounds. 22-14. Back to serve is going to be Carissa Wenzel. Her serve is going to go long for a service error, so it is now 23-14 as Bailey Gates comes back into the game for IU East. Mallory Livingston, the only senior on the IU East roster, back to serve. Here's her serve. It's going to go over to the back row to Wade. Here's the attack. Blocked up front by Bedell and Steinbrenner. Tip over to Mallory Livingston, set by Ketchum. Here's Steinbrenner once more. It's going to be just out of bounds. A point to Anderson. Now 23-15. So still a 8-point game here in the first set. Still in favor of IU East. Here is the serve from Annie Bachman. Her serve is going to go over to the back row to Livingston with the dig. Set by Abby Ketchum. Here's the attack by Bailey Gates. Kept alive by Anderson. Set by Troyer. The attack this time by number 10. That is Bailey Smith. And the attack blocked up front by Bedell. Goes over to the back row to Yoder with the dig. Set by Abby Ketchum. Here's Steinbrenner with the attack. Kept alive by Yoder. Steinbrenner gets it over the net with one hand. Set by Ketchum. And here's Gates with the attack and the kill for the Red Wolves. It's now 24-15, bringing up set point for the IU East Red Wolves. So a 9-point game here in the first set. Madison Yoder back to serve set point number 1 for the IU East Red Wolves. Here's the serve from Yoder. It's going to go over to the back row to Wade with the dig. Set by Troyer. Back over to Livingston with the dig. Set by Ketchum. Here's Bedell. Tips it across. Picked up on the front row by Anderson. And the attack by Bedell. Troyer tracking it down over on the right side. Wade gets it back across. Yoder with the dig for IU East. It's got some side spin on the ball. And this is going to be out of bounds. A point to Anderson. 24-16. 24-16, and Wade back to serve for the Ravens. Her serve over to Livingston. There's Ketchum and the attack by Bedell, and that's going to bring the first set to a close. 25-16, IU East wins by 9 here in the first set, so take the 1-0 lead in the matchup. So lots of energy between both teams in the first set by IU East, able to go on a little bit of a run there for a while. I think they scored about 8 consecutive points in the first set, giving them a 25-16 win here in the first set. We're going to take a quick break and come back with more IU East Volleyball right here on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Swept into the front row. And right there, Gates with a nice kill to end the first set. There is Gates with the kill. Gates with the kill. Here's Gates with a kill. And Bailey Gates back to serve now. Here's her serve. That's going to be an ace. Gates with the kill. And Gates with the kill. Blocked up front by Bailey Gates. The ball there is Gates with a nice kill. And Gates that time. And right there was Bailey Gates up in the front row for the Red Wolves.
I go back to J.C. Watt's definition of character that he was taught by his grandmother when he was a little boy. He said, character is doing the right thing when nobody's looking.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
And welcome back to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolf Sports Network. IU East has a 1-0 lead in the matchup after winning the first set with a score of 25-16. It was kind of a back-and-forth matchup to begin with, but then IU East was able to go on a little bit of a scoring run of their own and get up, I think, by about 8 at one point. And at that point, IU East was just able to hang on to the lead and get down to about 7 at one point. But IU East able to hang on, like I said, and come out with the 25-16 win in the first set. So we'll see what this second set has in store between the Anderson University Ravens and the IU East Red Wolves. IU East once again comes into the matchup with a record of 8-9. Anderson comes into the matchup with a record of 4-9. So Anderson trying to pick up a win here on their first home match of the season. IU East was just able to have their first home match of the 2015 season this past weekend as well. So IU East able to relate to that very well, as we have been familiar with what it's like to play on the road quite often this season. Speaking of, don't forget, IU East is going to be at Purdue-Calumet this weekend. So don't forget to tune in for those games. Purdue-Calumet will be providing the broadcast of those games. IU East will begin to serve here in the first set. It's going to go over to the back row to Wade. Set by Troy. And it's going to be an attack by Livingston. Picked up in the Anderson back row. There's the attack over to the far side. And this will be a point to IU East, giving them a 1-0 start to the second set. Taking a look at some of the stats, Missy Bedell led the kills category for IU East in the first set with 5. Bailey Gates had 4, along with Mallory Livingston and Sydney Durham. And that'll be a point to Anderson. IU East unable to return the ball, so it is now 1-1. Back to serve for Anderson. This is going to be number 11. That is Kyan Stewart. Set by Ketchum. The attack by Mallory Livingston. That will go down as a kill. 2-1. And it's a 1-point lead for IU East. Back to serve for the Red Wolves is going to be Sydney Durham. 6'1" sophomore. Has a year of college playing experience outside of IU East. That'll be a point to Anderson. Tying it up, trying to keep it close here at the start of the second set. Abby Finnick comes out of the game for Anderson. Back to serve is going to be Carissa Winsel. She's a 5'1" defensive specialist. A sophomore here at Anderson. Serve goes back to Mallory Livingston with the dig. Steinbrenner gets it across. It's going to be out of bounds. A point to Anderson, who now has their first lead of the match, 3-2. A 1-point lead for the Anderson University Ravens. Here's the serve. It's going to go over to Mallory Livingston on the left side. Dig by Ketchum. Livingston hits it across. Set by Troyer. Here's the attack by number 8. That is Annie Bachman. And it's going to be a point to the Red Wolves after it is tipped out of bounds off of the Ravens. Now tied up 3-3. Missy Bedell back into the game for IU East. Back to serve is going to be Abby Ketchum. Ketchum, a 5'10 freshman. It's going to be blocked up front by Mallory Livingston. And the Red Wolves now lead by 1, 4-3. And here's Ketchum with another serve for the Red Wolves. Goes over in the back row. There's the dig sent by Troyer. The attack this time by Bachman. And Hannah Best a little too far back on the play that time. And it's a tie game here in set number 2, 4-4. Coming into the game for Anderson, number 17, Courtney Kopp, as Annie Bachman goes back to serve. Here's the serve. It's going to go over to the back row to Madison Yoder. There's the set by Ketchum. Steinbrenner tips it across, and that'll be a point to the Red Wolves. 5-4, back up by 1. Best out of the game. Gates back in. Livingston back to serve. Here's her serve. It's going to go over to the back row. There's the dig. Kept alive by Yoder, set by Ketchum. The attack by Bedell, kept alive by Troyer. Tipped back across once more by Morgan Steinbrenner. And it's a 2-point game, 6-4. You look at your screen, Anderson, the team on the left wearing the black and orange uniforms. And IU East on the right side of the floor wearing the all black with gray lettering and white trim on these new uniforms that IU East has. Point to Anderson. 6-5. Here's the serve from Wade. Over in the back row to Livingston. Gates over by the IU East bench, able to play it, keep it alive with a dig. Set by Troyer. And 17 gets it across for Anderson. That's Courtney Kopp. Ties the game up 6-6. So 6-all here in the first set. There is the serve from Wade, set by Ketchum. Steinbrenner tips it across, going back to IU East, set by Ketchum. Here's Gates with the kill for the Red Wolves. That'll put IU East up by 1, making it 7-6. Cindy Durham comes back in for Morgan Steinbrenner. Yoder back to serve, it looks like. Goes over, there's the set. And the attack that time by Kopp ties it up 7-7. Abby Finnick back into the front row now for the Ravens. Here's the serve. It's going to go over to Madison Yoder. The dig by Ketchum. Bedell with the attack that time. It's going to be tipped out of bounds. A point to IU East. Puts them up by 1, 8-7. Bella Pavey back into the game for the Red Wolves. And waiting on the serve from Pavey. Goes over. There's the set by Troyer. The attack blocked up front by Cindy Durham. But it's going to be called out of bounds. A point to Anderson, 8-8. Back to serve is going to be Emily Wilson. Over to Mallory Livingston, set by Ketchum. Here's the attack by Gates, blocked up front. It'll be out of bounds off of IU East. And that puts Anderson up 9-8. Lead here in the first set. Back to serve Emily Wilson, 5'6" defensive specialist from Peru, Indiana. Her serve goes over to Yoder with the dig, set by Ketchum. She tips it over with her left hand, set by Abby Finnig. And the attack. It's going to go over to Ketchum with the set. The attack by Gates. It gets just over the top of Finnig and her front row partner number 11. That is Kyan Stewart. There's the set by Troyer. The attack by Bachman. It's going to be out of bounds. A point to the Red Wolves. And we're all tied up once again, 9-9. Bailey Gates, the IUE sophomore, back to serve. Here's the serve from Gates. Going to be over to Wade. Set by Troyer. Here's the attack from Finnegan. That's going to go down as a kill. And it puts Anderson up 10-9. Was able to see Finnegan play back in high school during her senior year at Knightstown High School. Really stepped things up in the front row for Knightstown after losing one of their front row players to soccer. And there's a kill by Sydney Durham that's going to tie it up 10-10. So we're all tied up here in set number 2 once again. Back to serve for IU East is going to be, looks like number 9, Sydney Durham. Here's the serve, goes over to Wade. There's the set by Troyer. Finnegan with the attack. Kept alive by Pavey. And there's the attack by Mallory Livingston. It's going to be in the Anderson front row. Tipped over by Morgan Steinbrenner. And it's a 1-point lead for IU East, 11-10. So a 1-point game here in set number 2. Durham continues to serve. It's going to be just over the net. We've seen that once from that side of the floor before. And now it is 12-10, a 2-point game. Durham will continue to serve for IU East. And the serve goes over to Wade. Dig by Troyer. Just over to the front row. Mallory Livingston trying to get to it, but unable to do so. And it's back to a 1-point game, 12-11. IU East still with the lead. Here is the serve from Winslow. There's the set and the attack by Livingston goes down as a kill. And it's now 13-11. A 2-point game still in favor of the IU East Red Wolves. And this is going to be a timeout taken by Anderson. We'll take a quick timeout as well. We'll be right back with more IU East Volleyball right here on the Red Wolf Sports Network. Hello, I'm Caleb Gillock, the host of Inside IU East Sports, a show where we talk with coaches, players, and other guests about what's happening with IU East athletics.
In the top 100 high school seniors.
Last year we were fortunate enough to do a variety of things on the track and then off to be able to be considered.
Make sure to join us on Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. on WETV Channel 20.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
And welcome back to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolf Sports Network. IU East has a 2-point advantage right now, 13-11. And it's going to be almost out of bounds, goes up in the upper level here inside of the O.C. Lewis Gymnasium. And it'll be a point to Anderson, making it 13-12. So back down to a 1-point game here in the second set. The match right now in favor of IU East. And here is the attack by Missy Bedell. That would go down as a kill for IU East. Back up to a 2-point game, 14-12. Back to serve for IU East, Mallory Livingston. Here's her serve, goes over into the back row to Wade. The attack by Kopp, it goes just off of the fingertips of Morgan Steinbrenner. And we're back down to a 1-point game, 14-13. Great matchup here so far in the second set between the Ravens and the Red Wolves. Goes over to the back row to Livingston with the dig, sent by Ketchum. Here's Gates with the attack off the face of Crystal Winsel. And now it is 15-13, back up to a 2-point game. Back to serve is Madison Yoder. Over to the back row to Winsel. Blocked up front. There's the dig. Back over to the back row to Livingston. Attack by Durham. Blocked up front by Gates. Picked up by Troyer. Set by Ketchum. She gets it across. Still being played by the Ravens. The attack kept alive by Durham. It's going to be out of bounds. A point to the Ravens. Back to a 1-point game. 15-14. Abby Finnig comes back into the game now for Anderson. Back to serve is going to be Riley Troyer, the 5'7" junior from Syracuse, Indiana, went to Fairfield High School. There's the set by Ketchum. Attack by Bedell. Picked up into the back row by Troyer. Set by Yoder, set by Ketchum. There's the attack by Gates. Her attack is going to be tipped out of bounds. It'll be a point to IU East. 16-14. Been going back between a 1 and 2 point game so far as Bella Pavey comes back into the game to serve for the Red Wolves. Waiting on the serve from Pavey. It's going to be over to the back row to Bachman. The attack blocked up front by Gates and Durham. Finnick tries to get it across. Pavey tries to keep it alive, but it's going to be a point to Anderson on the illegal lift. 15-16. Still in favor of IU East. So a 1-point lead for the Red Wolves here in set number 2. And back to serve is going to be number 7, Emily Wilson. Her serve goes over to Mallory Livingston with the dig, set by Ketchum. And Gates, her attack, out of bounds. Ties it up at 16. So we're all tied up in the second set, a 1-0 lead in the match for IU East after winning the first set 25-16. And here's the serve. It's going to go over to the back row to Livingston, set by Ketchum. Durham with the attack, hit way up into the air by Wade as the Ravens back row goes chasing after it. It's going to go out of bounds, 17-16, back up to a 1-point game for IU East. And here's the serve. It's going to go over to the back row to Wade, set by Troyer. Tipped across by, looks like number 8. That was Annie Bachman up on the front row with the tip for the Ravens. And we're all tied up once again, 17-17. Waiting on the serve. Looks like back to serve is going to be Kyan Stewart from Cowan High School. There's the set. The attack by Durham. Good enough for a kill, making it 18-17. So a 1-point lead for the Red Wolves as Durham continues to serve for IU East. Her serve over to the back row. There's the set by Troyer. The attack this time by Bailey Smith. Kept alive by Finnick with the set. Back over to Durham. Set by Ketchum. Here's the attack by Livingston, and that'll be good enough for a kill. Now 19-17, back up to a 2-point game. For the spread between these two teams, a timeout is going to be taken, however, by Tammy Miller and the Anderson University Ravens. We'll take a quick timeout as well as the Red Wolves lead by 2 in the second set, 19-17. We'll be right back with more IU East volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Hello, I'm Caleb Gillock, the host of Inside IU East Sports, a show where we talk with coaches, players, and other guests about what's happening with IU East athletics.
In the top 100 high school seniors.
Last year we were fortunate enough to do a variety of things on the track and then off to be able to be considered.
Make sure to join us on Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. on WETV Channel 20.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs. So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
And welcome back to the O.C. Lewis Gymnasium here on the campus of Anderson University. Right now, the Red Wolves up by 2, 19-17 in the second set. 1-0 lead in the match after winning the first set 25-16. Serve back in play. There's the attack by Annie Bachman, picked up by Mallory Livingston. Livingston with the kill this time for the Red Wolves. And that puts IU East up by 3 here in the second set, 20-17. So a 3-point lead in favor of the IU East Red Wolves. Serve now in play. And it's going to be over into the back row. Going to be out of bounds. A point to the Red Wolves. Now it is going to be 21-17. There's the serve. Goes over into the front row of Anderson. Pavey back. There's the dig by Ketchum. Blocked up front by the Ravens. And it is now 22-17 in favor of IU East. A 5-point lead. There's the serve. It's going to be tipped out of bounds off of the Red Wolves. It'll be a point to Anderson, 22-18. So a 4-point lead still for IU East. Back to serve, Carissa Winslow. There's her serve. Goes over into the IU East back row. Picked up by Troyer with the dig. Going to be out of bounds off of the Red Wolves on the tip once more. 22-19. So a 3-point lead now for the Red Wolves as Anderson continues to serve. There's the dig by Best, set by Ketchum. Steinbrenner gets it across, but it'll be out of bounds and down to a 2-point game, 22-20. Winslow will continue to serve. And here's the serve. It's going to go over to the IU East back row. There's the set and the attack looked like by Livingston. Ball goes up in the air. Trying to get it back across is number 7, Emily Wilson. There's the attack by Steinbrenner. Kept alive, and that's going to be a point to the Red Wolves, giving them a 3-point lead, 23-20. Back to serve, Abby Ketchum. Here's her serve. It's going to be over to the right side to Winslow. Set by Troyer. Blocked up front by Steinbrenner, and that'll be another point for the Red Wolves, bringing up set point number 1 for IU East here in set number 2. 24-20. Ketchum continues to serve. Here's her serve. It's going to go over to the back row to Wade, set by Troyer. Here's the attack by Bachman. And it's going to be out of bounds off of the Red Wolves on the tip. 24-21. As Courtney Kopp comes back into the game for the Ravens. Back to serve is going to be Annie Bachman. And here's the serve. And the attack up front by Morgan Steinbrenner will bring the second set to a close, 25-21. The Red Wolves win by 4 here in set number 2. So very close all throughout. I think until one team started to get away, it was 16-16 the last I recall. And then IU East was able to start getting a sort of an alternation between 1 and 2 points there at about the 16-point mark. And was finally able to break away and win the set by 4, 25-21 here in set number 2. We'll take a break and come back with more IU East volleyball right here on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Nice one there in the front row by number 21, Morgan Steinbrenner. And here's Morgan Steinbrenner. Her kill will be good. That time up front was Steinbrenner with the block. Steinbrenner with the kill. Here's Steinbrenner for the kill. Gently over the net. There's Steinbrenner with the kill. Mallory Livingston going back to serve. Livingston's the 5'9" outside hitter. Livingston. Here's Livingston once more, and that was going to be inbounds on the right side with the kill. Mallory with the set, and Livingston with the kill. And here's Livingston. Livingston with the kill. And there's Livingston with the kill. Livingston with the kill. Livingston up front with the kill. That's not one I'd want to see coming at me.
Yeah, not at all. That would leave a mark.
Yoder able to come up and keep the ball alive. Here's the serve from Yoder. And that's going to be an ace. A point for the Red Wolves. Yoder with the hit. Yoder
Great
keeping
save.
the ball alive. Yoder able to keep it alive for the Red Wolves. Yoder gets the ball across the net.
Yoder saves it again.
Kept alive by Yoder with one hand. Madison Yoder able to keep the ball alive. And welcome back to IU East Volleyball here on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Something I wasn't aware of, there's going to be a 10-minute intermission between the second and third set. So we're running some stuff here to get us about halfway through the 10-minute intermission, and we'll run some more here in a few moments. Right now, IU East has a 2-0 lead in the matchup after winning the first set 25-16 and the second set 25-21 over the Anderson University Ravens here at the O.C. Lewis Gymnasium in Anderson. So it's been a great matchup so far between the Ravens and the Red Wolves. Been very back and forth to start off the set, but then one team, so far it's been the Red Wolves, has been able to break free and come out with a win by 9 in the first set and 4 in the second set. As I mentioned before we went to break, it was actually 16-16 before IU East was really able to start breaking away from the Ravens. And I think at that point they got up like 18-16, and then were just able to kind of increase the lead from there. Still going back and forth between Anderson on points, giving them a 25-21 win in the second set. We're going to run some more commercials, and we'll be back with more IU East Volleyball here in just a few moments on the Red Wolves Sports Network.
I'm Dr. Ganesh Ramachandran, the region's only hand specialist at Reed Orthopedic Center. Patients love how easy it is having everything under one roof and how easy it is to get here. Right here at Reed Orthopedic Center, right here in Richmond.
What the NAIA has figured out through all their character and leadership programs is let's develop these players as men and women of character, and by doing so, these players will ultimately reach their ceiling.
My husband Larry came to Reed because he was in respiratory distress, and he came in through the emergency room and almost dying. The ethic of camaraderie and teamwork and customer service was extraordinary. After a few weeks of care with the fantastic staff in the medical, the CCU, the rehab departments, everywhere, he came home to me in one piece and ready to start the next stage of his life. We absolutely believe that Reed Hospital and the people here saved his life.
We felt the best way to change human behavior was not necessarily to always be on people's backs, but rather it was to catch them doing something right and to reinforce it.
Dylan Newman had a terrible dislocated shoulder after a bad dirt bike accident. The long-term solution, surgery and intense rehab.
I trusted Reed Orthopedics because they had already fixed my ankle, and within 4 months of my surgery, Dr. Miller and my Reed therapist, April, helped me to regain my motion and most of my strength. Thanks to Reed Ortho, I can get back to what I love. It's all about trust. Right, Dr. Miller?
Right here at Reed.
Right here in Richmond.
And welcome back to IU East Volleyball here on the Red Wolf Sports Network. Still about 2.5 minutes before we get going here in the third set. After 2 sets, however, IU East has the 2-0 lead in the matchup. Winning the first one over Anderson University 25-16. And the second set 25-21. Once again, thanks for joining us here at Anderson University inside the O.C. Lewis Gymnasium. I'm Caleb Gillock, the voice of the IU East Red Wolves. Not a whole lot to say other than the fact it's just been another close matchup between Anderson and IU East. A little bit closer than last year. Last year's matchup went to 4 sets. Right now, IU East still on track for taking this to 3 and heading home to Richmond. But we'll see how Anderson comes out and plays here in the third set after they were a little more aggressive back in the second set. As we mentioned a couple times, it was 16-16. It was really back and forth between Anderson and IU East. Then IU East was finally able to start breaking away there at about the 16-point mark. If you're just now joining us. And IU East and Anderson both coming out of the locker room now. They're both back out on the floor. You see IU East there in the huddle around their bench. They're right at the bottom of your screen. Anderson right now not in the picture. They are over on the right side, to the right of the scores table, or if you're sitting in the bleachers here, the Anderson side anyway, they are to the left of the scores table, not to confuse those of you at home. So right now it is 2-0 in favor of the 8-9 IU East Red Wolves over the 4-9 Anderson University Ravens. So we're waiting on IU East and Anderson to come out of the huddle. There's a 10-minute break between the second and third sets as they had some games and stuff that some of the students here at Anderson participated in between sets. I've seen that at a lot of other places. Most recent one was over at Mount Vernon High School, where they had what they called the Subway Challenge of the Match, and they each were given a partner, and the partners had to hold one of the Subway wrappers and put the volleyball on top of it, start at one baseline, go all the way underneath the net, down to the other baseline, and back. The winner, I believe they ended up getting like a 6-inch sub or something like that from Subway. So that was an interesting one. I've seen some others where, you would stand on one side of the floor, serve. If you hit a blanket that was closer to the net or something, you got a 2-liter or a T-shirt or something like that. There's a couple different blankets that if you hit off of the serve on the Ace Challenge, you were given some sort of prize. I've seen something like that as well, but they did something with pizza boxes here as we were running through commercials. I wasn't really able to see what that was, but looks like we are ready to go back to volleyball here at Anderson now. Out on the floor for the IU East Red Wolves, Hannah Best along with Bella Pavey, Madison Yoder, Sydney Durham, Abby Ketchum, and Mallory Livingston. So out on the floor right now there are 3 sophomores along with a senior and 2 freshmen. Anderson has first serve. Serve goes over to Mallory Livingston, set by Abby Ketchum. The attack by Durham, and that's a quick 1-0 start for IU East off the kill by Sydney Durham. Here's the serve from Durham. There's the attack by Abby Finnig. And it is now all tied up 1-1. So as I mentioned, interesting to see how Anderson's going to come out this set as well. Here's the serve. It's going to be this time by number 11. That is Cayenne Stewart. Tipped over by Steinbrenner. And that'll be a 1-point game now for IU East, 2-1. Bessie Bedell comes back into the game for IU East. Back to serve will be Abby Ketchum. Right now, the team leader in kills for the Red Wolves, Mallory Livingston, with 10. She had 18 in the matchup against Anderson last year, so we'll see what she can put up here in the third set. The attack by Finnig goes over to Yoder with the set, and the attack by Mallory Livingston, set by Troyer. Tipped across this time by Smith. And this will be a point to Anderson, tying it up 2-2. Finnig out of the game. Back to serve is going to be number 3, Carissa Wenzel. Wenzel back to serve. Her serve goes over to Yoder. And a 3-2 lead now for Anderson. Interesting thing about that is it was the second set that Anderson won last year, not the third. There's the attack, set by Ketchum. And it's going to go over to the right side. One hand on the ball by Troyer, kept alive by the Ravens. Back over to Hannah Best in the back row with the set. Here is the set by Ketchum and the attack by Steinbrenner. And that ties it up 3-3. So all tied up 3-3 as the IU East senior, number 13, Mallory Livingston, goes back to serve. Here is the serve from Livingston. This is going to be over into the back row onto the left side, set by Troyer. There's the dig by Livingston. Just enough. Set by Livingston this time on the receive of the attack. Set by Abby Ketchum. Here's Missy Bedell with the attack. It's going to be inbounds for a kill for IU East. And it's now 4-3. A 1-point lead. Coach Niekamp telling the team, we've got to work. Let's go. Up by 1 here in the third set. There's the attack, goes over to Yoder, set by Ketchum. Livingston with the attack this time, over to the back row to Wade, set by Troyer. There's the attack by, looks like, Bachman. Gates gets it across. There's the dig by Wenzel. The attack by Bachman once again. It'll be a point to the Red Wolves. Now 5-3, up by 2. So a 2-point game in favor of the IU East Red Wolves on the road. Here's the serve. It's going to go over to Wade. Over to the right side to Troyer. Wade gets it across. Set by Livingston. Set by Ketchum. Here's the attack by Gates. And that'll be good for a kill. 6-3. So a 3-point advantage for IU East. IU East 9-0 against NCAA Division III opponents. There's a service error on Mallory Livingston. 9-0 against NCAA Division III programs since the 2009 season. 6-4. Here's the serve. It's going to go over to the back row to Mallory Livingston. And that'll be a point to Anderson after the hit by Gates. Too light and goes into the net. Bachman back to serve. And here's the serve from Annie Bachman. Goes over to the back row. And that'll be an ace after it lands between Livingston and Yoder. 6-6. And looks like Bachman will serve. She is a 5'9" sophomore. And that'll go back and give a 1-point lead to the Ravens, 7-6. Bachman will continue to serve now for the Ravens. Now allowed to serve, and here we go. It's going to go over to Livingston with the dig, set by Abby Ketchum. Steinbrenner taps it across, Gates with the block, and it's going to be out of bounds off of the Ravens. Ties it up at 7. So 7-all here in the third set. Yoder back to serve. It's going to go over to the back row. Wade, set by Troyer. Kopp gets it across. Here's Bedell. Her attack. It's going to be inbounds for a kill, putting the Red Wolves back up by 1, 8-7. Right now I've got 8-7 as the official score. The main scoreboard's got 7-7 here inside the O.C. Lewis Gymnasium. There's Kopp with a kill, and that's going to tie it up 8-8. Wade goes back to serve. Going to go over to Livingston in the back row with the dig, set by Ketchum. And this will be a point to the Ravens. Looks like they're going to get Ketchum on the line violation, potentially. 1 point lead for Anderson, 9-8. Here's the set by Ketchum. Bedell goes up and swings. Swings once again. This will be a point to Anderson, or excuse me, IU East, tying it up at 9. Going to get Anderson for being in the net. 9-9. Pavey back to serve. And here's the serve from Bella Pavey. It's going to go over to the left side. There's the set and the attack. Yoder with the dig. Gates gets it across. Dig by, looks like Troyer. Blocked up front by Sydney Durham. 10-9, a 1 point lead for IU East. After the block by Sydney Durham up in the front row. Bella Pavey will continue to serve. Here's the serve from Pavey. This is going to go over to the left side of the back row. Wenzel with the dig. Pavey with one of her own. This is going to be out of bounds. A point to Anderson. Still back and forth between these two teams, 10-10. Fennig back into the front row for Anderson. There's the dig by Yoder, set by Ketchum. Here's the attack by Gates. It's going to go over to the right side, and it's going to be out of bounds off of Riley Troyer, giving the Red Wolves a 1 point lead, 11-10. Gates back to serve for IU East. Sophomore out of Winchester. Her serve proved to be a short serve. There's the set and the attack. Troyer gets it back across, set by Ketchum. Here's Durham. Didn't kill the ball that time. This is a light tap cross, blocked up front by Durham. There's the quick getting the ball across the net by Troyer. And Ketchum does the same thing on the other side. Kopp gets it across over to Yoder with the dig, set by Ketchum. Here is the attack by Livingston. And it's going to fall. A point to the Red Wolves. 12-10 off of a long volley. And it's going to be a timeout taken by Anderson. IU East has a 12-10 lead in the third set and a 2-0 lead in the match. As Anderson takes a timeout, we'll take one as well and come back with more IU East volleyball right here on the Red Wolf Sports Network.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
Dylan Newman had a terrible dislocated shoulder after a bad dirt bike accident. The long-term solution, surgery and intense rehab.
I trusted Reed Orthopedics because they had already fixed my ankle. And within 4 months of my surgery, Dr. Miller and my Reed therapist, April, helped me to regain my motion and most of my strength. Thanks to Reed Ortho, I can get back to what I love. It's all about trust. Right, Dr. Miller?
Right here at Reed.
Right here in Richmond.
And welcome back to IU East Volleyball. It's going to be an ace for the Red Wolves to come out of the timeout. And that will put IU East up 13-10 here in the third set. Here is the serve. It's going to go over, set by Troyer. The attack by Kopp, blocked up front by Sydney Durham. And it's now 14-10. And back to serve, Bailey Gates for IU East. Here's her serve. It's going to go over to Bachman. Set by Troyer. The attack this time by Stewart. There's the set, and the attack this time by Kopp. It's going to be long, so it'll be a point to the Red Wolves, now 15-10. Gates still serving for IU East. Here's her serve. It's going to be over at the back row to Bachman. Set by Troyer. The attack this time by Kopp. It's going to be tipped out of bounds off of the Red Wolves, so it'll be 15-11 as Hannah Best comes back into the game for IU East. Back to serve for Anderson the first time in today's matchup. Allie Wolf, a 5'9 freshman. And looks like we're going to do a quick lineup check here on Anderson. Right now out on the floor for IU East, Pavey, Yoder, Best, Livingston, Durham, and Ketchum. So we'll wait and see what the discussion is here at the scorers table. And it looks like everything is okay. So back to serve is going to be Allie Wolf. Here's her serve. It's going to go over to Best. (15-12) after it goes under the net off the hands of Hannah Best. Here's another serve from Allie Wolf. It's going to go over to Hannah Best. This time she gets the dig. And the attack by Mallory Livingston for the kill makes it 16-12. Durham back to serve for IU East, 6'1 sophomore who has had some college playing experience, as we've mentioned. She went to South Florida State. And this will be a point, looks like, to Anderson off of the tip. So Anderson will continue to serve. Back now is going to be number 11. That is Cayenne Stewart. Over to Best. There's the dig by Madison Yoder. The attack by Mallory Livingston. Goes back over to Hannah Best with the dig, set by Ketchum. The attack by Livingston. Good for a kill, makes it 17-13. Once again, don't forget, IU East back on the road this weekend. Those games will be broadcast by Purdue Calumet, covering the tri-matchup there this weekend. IU East right now scheduled to play at 3 and 5. 17-13. Here's the set by Finnig. Trying to get it across that time was Bachman, but unable to do so, and it'll be a point to the Red Wolves, 18-13. Anyways, they'll play Governor State out of Illinois at 3 p.m. on Saturday, followed up by Purdue Calumet at 5. So they'll be back-to-back on Saturday. There's Finnig, and it's going to be a point to Anderson. A little miscommunication up there in the front row. maybe not really even miscommunication. It was just an error up there in the front row. As looked like maybe Ketchum was trying to go for the dig, and it went off the side of her left hand, and Steinbrenner had no time to react. There's a kill by Missy Bedell. So it's now 19-14, a 5-point lead for IU East as Bailey Gates comes back into the game. Mallory Livingston back to serve. And getting it across is going to be Smith. Ketchum gets it across with the dig this time for IU East. And Ketchum with the dig. It's going to be a point to Anderson. 19-15. 4-point game. Kopp comes back into the game for the Ravens. Back to serve Annie Bachman. And here's the serve. It's going to be over to Mallory Livingston in the back right side. Steinbrenner gets it across up on the front row. It's going to be over by the antenna. Steinbrenner. And a little bit of hesitation as the crowd starts to make noise. They're going to call a double hit on the Red Wolves. 19-16. Almost got away with it. Mallory Livingston going over to question the call. And the upper official going to stick with the call. 19-16, 3-point lead for IU East. It's the dig by Livingston, set by Ketchum. Steinbrenner taps it across. Kept alive by the Ravens, and this is going to be a point to IU East off of 4 hits. 20-16. Madison Yoder back to serve for IU East. Here's the serve. It's going to be a service error after it goes into the net. 20-17. So still a 3-point lead for the Red Wolves as we near the end of the third set. IU East has a 2-0 lead in the matchup. Back to serve for Anderson is Wade. She serves, goes over to Mallory Livingston with the dig, set by Ketchum. Here's the attack by Gates. It's going to be set by Troyer. The attack this time by Anderson's number 11, Cayenne Stewart. And here's the set by Ketchum. Durham gets a hand on the ball as well. Anderson's Kopp gets it across. Back over to Yoder with the dig. Set by Abby Ketchum. Yoder with the attack. It's going to be too long. Out of bounds. A point to Anderson. 20-18. Down to a 2-point game as Wade continues to serve. (20-18) in the third set at Anderson University. There's the dig by Mallory Livingston. Set by Ketchum. The attack by Gates. Kept alive in the back row by the Ravens. Kopp tries to tip it across. Unable to do so. It'll be a point to IU East. 21-18. So a 3-point advantage for IU East as Bella Pavey comes back into the game to serve for the IU East Red Wolves. And here's the serve. So we're going to go over to the back right side, set by Troyer. The attack by Kopp, blocked up front by Ketchum and Durham, and it's 22. I had 22, but they're going to call the out of bounds, so it is 21-19. A point to Anderson. It's going to go over to Yoder, set by Ketchum. Here's the attack by Gates, blocked up front, kept alive by the Red Wolves. Durham tips it across for IU East. There's a point to the Red Wolves. 22-19. And with it being a 3-point game, and IU East 3 points away from taking the win, Anderson's trying to take a timeout. We'll take a quick one as well and come back with the last bit of the third set here on the Red Wolves Sports Network right after this.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
Dylan Newman had a terrible dislocated shoulder after a bad dirt bike accident. The long-term solution, surgery and intense rehab.
I trusted Reed Orthopedics because they had already fixed my ankle. And within 4 months of my surgery, Dr. Miller and my Reed therapist, April, helped me to regain my motion and most of my strength. Thanks to Reed Ortho, I can get back to what I love. It's all about trust. Right, Dr. Miller?
Right here at Reed.
Right here in Richmond.
And welcome back to Anderson University and Indiana University Volleyball on the Red Wolf Sports Network, 22-19 here in the third set. Here's Bailey Gates from IU East with the serve. 3 points away from winning the match over Anderson University. Here's the set. The attack by Abby Finnick goes over to the back roll to Bailey Gates. And there is a set by Finnick. The attack by Troyer. Kept alive by Livingston. Livingston with the kill for the Red Wolves. And that makes it 23-19. IU East, 1 more point closer to winning against the Ravens. Short serve by Gates. There's the set and the attack. This is going to be inbounds for a kill by Anderson. 23-20. So still a close game here in the third set. Back to serve is going to be Allie Wolf. Wolf, a 5'9 freshman. Accounting major, or athletic training major here. And that's going to be out of bounds, 23-21. Here's Wolf back to serve. Going to go over to the back row. There's the set by Finnig. Or not Finnig, excuse me. That's going to be by IU East. Back over to the right side to Pavey. Pavey with the dig, set by Ketchum. And the attack by Livingston brings up set point for the IU East Red Wolves as they now have 24 on the board. And a 2-0 lead in the matchup over the Anderson University Ravens. Back to serve match point. It's going to be the 6'1 sophomore from IU East, number 9, Sydney Durham. Her serve goes over to the back row to Wade, set by Troyer. The attack blocked up front by Steinbrenner, kept alive by Wade. Livingston with the dig, set by Ketchum. Here is Livingston with the kill for the Red Wolves, and that brings the game to a close after IU East takes this set 25-21 over the Anderson University Ravens, and that gives them a 3-0 lead, or 3-0 win in the match. So IU East wins in 3, 25-16, 25-21, and also 25-21. So a 3-set match here between the Ravens and the Red Wolves. Not a lot to say other than the fact it was a close matchup between these two teams all throughout. If there was a match, or a set, that wasn't close, that would have been the first set. And it was really close at the beginning, but the second and third sets, really the two closest sets of the matchup. As you know, it was 16-16 before IU East broke away in set number 2, and 10-10 before IU East broke away. And even at that, Anderson kept it close in the third set. 25-21, IU East wins the third set. We're going to take a quick break and come back with the volleyball postgame show right here on the Red Wolf Sports Network.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
And welcome back to the IU East Volleyball postgame show here on the Red Wolf Sports Network. A 3-0 win for the IU East Red Wolves over Anderson University, 25-16, 25-21, and 25-21. Joining me for the postgame show is Sydney Durham. Sydney, a great game out there for IU East. However, a close matchup against the Anderson University Ravens. Tell us what it was like out on the floor tonight.
I thought we really
really picked up our energy tonight and really played together as a team, which is something that we have been lacking in the last few games. So it was great to finally come together and really fully play as a team and like stay loud, and I think it really helped our energy.
Now, what have you guys been working on in practice? I'm sure you guys have been working on something like that to get that team energy up and play together well as a team. What have you guys been doing as far as that in practice?
We've definitely been incorporating drills that help with our communication and just like being as a team, so we make sure that we come in every play to like cheer, even if it was a bad play, to like make sure we pick each other up and just keep the energy flowing.
IU East now 500 on the season with a record of 9-9. You're traveling to Purdue-Calumet this weekend. You'll be playing Governor State out of Illinois as well as Purdue-Calumet. What do you expect those two teams to be like this weekend?
Just like every other team, we can't underestimate them, so we got to come out just like we did tonight, play our game, stay focused on what we need to improve on, and hope for a win.
All right, thank you for joining me.
No problem.
All right, well, a 3-0 win for IU East over the Anderson University Ravens, 25-16, 25-21, and 25-21. Once again, the Red Wolves back in action on the road this weekend in Hammond, Indiana. They'll be playing Governor State on Saturday at 3 p.m., followed by Purdue-Calumet on Saturday at 5 p.m., so be sure to tune in for those matches. Those broadcasts will be provided by Purdue-Calumet on Saturday. Don't forget to tune in at 3 and 5 to watch your Red Wolves take on Governor State and Purdue-Calumet. 3-0 win on the road tonight for IU East over Anderson. I'm Caleb Gillock, the voice of your IU East Red Wolves. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.